this might offend people. I'm sick and tired of worrying about whether people are offended or not. That's your problem, being offended. What about the rest of us? You're shutting down my opinion. Where do people like I go, who just are common sense, normal people who want to have a laugh, want to have a, put out our opinions?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to another episode of TBN. I'm Mohammed Shakib with my co-host Dave. Before we start, whether we're on the left, right or somewhere in between, I think we can all agree on one thing.
I'm intrigued. What's that?
Australian Parliament has become absolute theatre. Question time is basically reality TV with a bigger budget of the politicians.
And on this week's episode, Pauline Hanson won the award for the most dramatic appearance in Parliament.
She wore a burqa in Parliament again.
That's right, Sheikh. Not the first time. She's done it before.
2017. She's recycling the same stunt. It's like a tribute band playing their one-hit song twice.
That's right, Sheikh. It's the Pauline Hanson Burqa Tour 2025 coming to a theatre near you.
That's right. Same act, same costume, same material. But look, you know what? We should give Pauline the benefit of the doubt, to be fair, My theory, here's my theory. You want to listen?
Yeah, let's go.
You know how Muslim women wear veils to protect themselves from unwanted male attention and sexual objectification?
Definitely. Yep.
So maybe Pauline finally realised she's just so irresistibly hot.
Right.
She's becoming a temptation to the men in Parliament.
Okay. Stop it, Sheikh. Pauline Hanson saving us from looking at her due to her beautiful looks, apparently.
No, bro, think about it.
Yeah.
Maybe she looked in the mirror one day and she thought, my God, I'm too sexy for the Senate. Cover up before someone loses control. Yeah,
That's it. Well, we've had the Troy Buswell chair sniffing incident, so you never know what this can trigger. Yeah. Even though it is a laughable stunt. Unfortunately, we do have some stats in Australia, such as domestic violence kills one woman per week, which is, a serious matter that we should be taking on board here.
Yeah, look, I get why some disgruntled coalition voters are turning to One Nation, but are they, because they're frustrated with the Liberals, with the whole establishment.
Yeah.
But what actual solutions is Pauline offering?
Yeah, exactly, Shaq. So what options is she presenting other than a Parliament dress-up party?
Yeah, right. What is she doing for housing affordability, cost of living, energy prices?
Yeah, apparently it's banning a very small number of women in this country for having the freedom of expression to dress how they want to dress.
Yeah, probably, a couple of hundred? That'll definitely lower your grocery bills, but yeah, you reckon? Sorry, kids, we can't afford milk, but good news, Pauline played dress up in Parliament.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, spoiler alert, costume parties don't effectively affect the economy.
They don't create jobs.
Don't create jobs either. Yeah, exactly, Shaq. So should we break down her arguments and do a bit of a case study on that?
Yeah, look, let's go through them one by one.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be fun. Let's demolish them, actually.
Yeah. So first, Pauline Hanson's claim is about security and terrorism.
All right, let's check the scoreboard here. Terrorist attacks in Australia by someone wearing a burqa.
0.
Bank robberies using burqas as disguise.
Also 0. But you know what is a worry? The domestic violence in Australia that kills approximately one woman per week.
True, but there's no theatre in addressing those issues. It's not as fun as going to Parliament wearing a burqa.
Yeah, that's a fit.
Yeah. But look, here's the thing. If she's saying it's a safety, it's a security issue, right? Muslim women already show their faces when required.
Yeah.
Banks, airports, getting driver's license. The system already works.
Yeah.
When they are asked to identify, they do so.
Yep. Yeah. So they're creating a false narrative of saying that we... Yeah, that's right. We have to ban this, or we have to introduce something for these reasons, but those reasons don't actually exist.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and I think we can all rewind back a few years to COVID times.
Oh, yeah.
When everyone was masked up, and the criminals have now run with that, and you'll often see people walking the streets masked up, wearing their COVID mask, but they're up to no good. So
It was no issue at that time.
there was no issue with that.
But when Muslim women cover their faces,
Yeah.
it's like Pauline is pushing for this, draconian state.
Yeah.
Like she's saying there should be facial recognition. She's invading into our privacy
Exactly.
at the moment.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly
She wants to introduce laws that
Yeah.
make it difficult for everyone.
I wonder why, and I wonder who that will benefit.
Well, we know, but I didn't want to go into that. But okay, look, let's talk about this. 100 or so women in religious dress becomes a national emergency. I mean, a minority within a minority. We're literally talking about perhaps 100. How many people in Perth wear the niqab, would wear the burqa or cover?
Yep.
Let's not even say burqa. There's a difference between the burqa, the niqab, and then just the normal
And the hijab.
hijab, right?
Yep.
But how many people actually cover their faces in WA?
Yeah, it'll be, I mean, the Muslim population in Australia is approximately 800,000.
Yeah, 800,000, I'd say.
Out of that, approximately 800,000, how many are women?
I'd say you'd struggle to find 100, 150 in the whole of Australia. I'm talking about.
Yep.
And Melbourne and Sydney, where it'd be mostly worn.
Yep.
But in the whole of Australia, you'd struggle to find 100, 150 women that actually cover their faces. But she's trying to make this a national emergency.
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's just pandering to you know who.
I wonder if it had anything to do with that flag she wore to Parliament at one stage.
Anyway, it's like we probably have more Pauline impersonators than we do with women wearing the burqa,
Well, maybe she's a secret convert to Islam, Sheikh, and she's trying to
live a life of chastity.
That's right. Yeah, and she's trying to.
A bit late. How old is she now? 60?
It's never too late to take your shahada, Pauline. Just remember that.
All right. But now, then she pivots and she says it's about protecting women's rights, She's saying it's an ideology that oppresses women. The same old Islamophobic
Trope.
that we've been listening, that same old Islamophobic rhetoric that we've been listening to for so many years. But for the benefit of our audience, let's explain it.
So let's just get this straight, Sheikh. So the women that do cover up for religious purposes, the Muslim women seem to get the hardest case, unfortunately, and especially those, like we were saying, that wear the niqab and the burqa. But they're not the only religious women that would choose to cover up their beauty as well, such as nuns, and I believe Orthodox Christians as well like to cover up. And even, I think, in some Jewish practices, the women don't show their hair.
Yeah. I mean, showing their hair is one thing, but, to understand the philosophy behind it, Muslim women wear it for their devotion and piety and modesty to God. Yeah. And also it shows that, look, we're not here to be flirtatious and we're not welcoming any sexual advances. We are either married or we're not interested in that type of behavior.
Yeah.
That is it's like someone who's reached a very high level in religiosity. It's not the average woman that does do that.
Yeah, that's
But to say that, one, she's saying it's not religious.
Yeah.
Second, she's saying that women are forced to do it by their men.
Yeah.
By their husbands.
Yeah.
The women that I know that wear it do so out of their own free will.
And out of their own devotion to God, the Creator.
That's exactly right. And look, if there are isolated cases of men forcing women to cover their faces, then we do have checks and balances to deal with that. We have the Australian law where a woman could just make a phone call or make a complaint and straight away she would be, rescued from that so-called
Scenario.
So-called, oppressive husband, if it does exist. So coercion is illegal.
Yeah.
Domestic violence is illegal. We have laws in place. Yeah. But Pauline's, just creating red herring.
Yeah.
Look, we don't need new bans. We need to enforce existing laws that protect all women from being forced to do anything against their will.
Yeah, that's right. And look, one candidate from One Nation accused single mothers of being ugly and lazy.
Yeah. I remember there was a while ago there was that issue. So all of a sudden they're out championing women's
rights now.
Such
a small minority.
Well, what about those women that are getting bombed and burned alive.
Exactly.
In Gaza and in Palestine.
Yeah.
Do you not support them? Do you not raise a voice for them, Pauline? Or no, it's they don't mean anything. But yet women who want to cover up and dress modestly, you want to be their defenders of something they're not even asking you to do.
Exactly right, Shaq. And it's not just the Muslim women in Palestine, it's the Christian women in Palestine as well that come under threat, lose their lives, lose their families. So where is the consistency? If you care about women's rights, why do you wear and support that blue and white flag? Makes no sense.
Yeah. So Pauline's solution is to protect women by using state authority to forcibly strip their clothing. Imagine that. Think about that for a second, bro.
Yeah.
She wants police, probably male officers, to forcibly remove women's religious garments.
Yeah.
How is that defending women's rights?
Yeah, exactly right. So what is Pauline actually proposing that would have a benefit for women in our society of Australia? I mean, saying that forcing women to say that they can't wear what they want to wear is taking away their rights. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And this was a stunt. We know that. Even Nat Cabanan said that, look, she had many ways to do this, but she chose this particular way.
Pauline Hanson was denied the leave to introduce her burqa bill by one senator, which you can do on a formal motion. She has other ways she could have introduced her bill that wouldn't have allowed it and avoided that outcome. She chose not to use those avenues, right? She chose not to use them because clearly she wanted to create this stunt and this controversy, not to get change, not to actually do anything real, just to create outrage.
She knows what she's doing. Yeah. But the problem is there are so many issues that we need to deal with, and she goes out and pulls a stunt like that.
Yeah, exactly, Shaq. So while she's performing stunts like this for the mainstream theatre, we've got stats of 1 in 5 women sexually assaulted, approximately 1 woman killed each week due to domestic violence. I mean, if she was really a champion of human rights, she would be aware of these stats and try and find a solution to be able to tackle these head on.
Yeah. But in her case, no, let's police what 100 or so Muslim women choose to wear. That'll fix all our problems.
Yeah, exactly right. And then it comes another catchphrase, dressing like this and looking like this goes against our culture and our way of life.
Yeah. I actually understand why some people find it confronting. It looks different, but here's the thing. It is a religious ruling. I mean, Pauline is saying it's got nothing to do with religion. She's just become a scholar all of a sudden to determine the Muslims' religion. But you ask any Imam, any learned person, it is. Women do wear it because of religion. It is mentioned in their scriptures.
Yeah.
And the Quran refers to it. Hadith explicitly mentions it. Yeah, so she's saying it's not a religious ruling. Where she's not an authority on Islam. Well, maybe she's wearing the burqa. She might be.
Maybe she took her secret shahada. Exactly. And look, it's just the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah.
If you're allowing women to wear what they want in summertime, especially with beach weather coming in and bikinis and things like that, then how about we have the freedom for women that actually say, hey, for myself, I want to be a bit more covered up. Yeah. And a lot of the Muslim women that do prefer to be covered are actually converts. They've reverted. They've chosen to be Muslim. Yeah. Australian and Western societies alike.
Yeah, I mean, look, the West has a problem with women being sexually objectified. You see them half naked on billboards. You see a lot of nudity everywhere.
Exactly right. It sells products. Sex sells. That's what they say.
And when women want to live a life of piety and chastity and modesty, Pauline goes out and takes it. So bikinis equals freedom, but burqas equal
oppression. So bikinis in and burqas out, apparently.
But look, is she really so insecure about a piece of cloth? We're talking about 100, 150 women out of 26 million Australians.
I know, there's such a small... She must really care about Muslim women's rights. Is she paying mosques visits? Is she trying to do what she can to visit Muslim women? No, I don't think I've seen her.
I don't think she's had a proper discussion, like a proper, genuine discussion that doesn't involve hate. But look, I believe in a dialogue to sort of like exchange your viewpoint. 100%. Why do Muslim women wear like that? They're not the stereotypical oppressed Muslim women that the West perceives it to be. Yeah, they are just normal. Some of them are very intelligent, professional.
Yeah.
And some of them might be just a simple housewife. But the bottom line is, why are we going to start policing what women can and can't wear when we have so many other issues?
So how about Pauline Hanson, you give us the chance to say who we are. How about if you really care about women's rights, you let them tell you what's important to them and what they want to wear, rather than you try and tell them what they can wear, when it's such a small percentage of society that we're really talking about here.
Yeah, so you'll get your progressive Muslim women that might not want to wear it. Fair enough, you're free.
Yeah.
And you might get the religious woman who wants to wear it. He should be free to do so.
Yeah.
Why is Pauline imposing her views on others?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
If it's a cultural issue, right, someone's view of Australian culture may be different to hers.
100%.
I'm sure the First Nations people have a different view of what constitutes Australian culture. I'm sure even amongst the white community, they'd have a different view of what's Western culture, Australian culture, I should say.
Yeah.
And likewise, the immigrants that have been either born here from immigrant families, or they've been here for decades, or they're recent immigrants.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they might also have a different view of what Australia means. So, which Australian culture, if you're going to be like that, then what we do is we say, your culture, whatever it may be that you're promoting, Pauline, shouldn't it be strong enough and appealing enough that should one wish to choose that culture, then they should be able to do so. There should be a free market that you can choose whatever culture you want.
Exactly.
Is your culture so weak that you have to ban other people's culture? Yeah.
That's right. You have to ban women from being able to dress what they want, how they want, for the freedom of those women that you're oppressing. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's right. If you're trying to do it through bans, and she's trying to it's very similar tactic to what you see other people do from that sort of right, conservative far right movement. It's all about an emotive response.
That's right.
For Australian values, for American, for MAGA, for these things, and for the average Joe Blow. They think, our Australian vets, it's that threat. Yeah, we've got to do something, and it riles them up and gets them involved.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. But look, here's something that Hanson doesn't want to acknowledge. And Islam is actually the fastest growing religion in the West.
Yep.
So if your culture is so attractive, why are people looking towards Islam?
Yeah.
Despite all the negative media, despite the constant attacks that Muslims are receiving, people are still converting.
Yeah, exactly, Sheikh. And I believe a large number are women converting to Islam and choosing to be more modest in their dress and how they are perceived in society, whether it's the hijab or the burqa or somewhere in between.
Correct. Do you think a woman is more oppressed who's sexually objectified, preyed upon by others, looked upon as if she's like just a product, a sex toy, if I want to be crude, or a commodity, or someone who's respected as a mother, as a wife, with honor and dignity, and she doesn't want every man looking at her.
Yeah. So even with everything that the Western culture tells women that they should be, there's a growing number, Sheikh, of women that are converting to Islam. Is that correct?
Correct. Like in a society that promotes maximum freedom, sexual liberation, materialism, people are choosing the opposite. They're choosing modesty, spiritual discipline, and family community values. That's what terrifies people like Pauline. It's not that Muslim women are forced, it's that some Western women are choosing this way of life. The culture she's defending isn't holding up.
No, and it seems to be a bit of a panic mode, actually, where the usual sort of tactics aren't working. So now it's time to do something a bit more extreme again and bring up the past and try this stunt again to see what happens.
Yeah, I believe that a strong culture doesn't need to ban competition because it will win through appeal anyway, through making a better case. So people find, I find that this way of life is suitable for me, is a solution to many modern day problems.
Yeah, that's right, Shaq. And you can see that happening in the West, especially with the political environment, what it's been over the last, especially 5 to 10 years. It's really, people have really starting to wake up. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. So just to touch on that, so her whole case scenario now is based on a few hundred women of Australia. Like that's her horse and then her hill that she wants to die on, apparently.
Yeah. But look, let's call this for what it really is, an attention-seeking stunt.
Yeah. So the same thing from 2017, here we go again, relived, re-uploaded, you know.
Political theatre.
Political, yeah. It's the sequel that no one was waiting for. You know what's ironic, Shaq? Is that Pauline Hanson thinks that you can't promote freedom by covering up, but you can give women freedom by forcing them to take off their clothes.
So she wants us to promote freedom by removing choices.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It's not consistent.
And it's not your choice to make, it's Pauline Hanson's choice that she's made for you on by
what you can and can't wear. Thanks, Pauline.
Yeah, that's right. So if the Australian culture, and I'll say this in inverted commas, that Pauline Hanson seems to be the champion for,
or she likes to think that, but that's not the case because we know who she's really working for. But anyway, go on.
Jog on, Pauline.
Yeah.
How can it be so fragile that a number of, say, under 1,000 women in Australia are the biggest threat to her safety at the moment? I mean, does it make sense?
A piece of cloth can destroy a whole culture, Pauline.
Apparently.
But that's the thing. I don't believe Australian culture is that weak. If you've got much, Australians have a lot to offer. I like their attitude of giving everyone a fair go, of supporting the underdog, the oppressed. This is Australian culture that we should be fighting for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're robust enough to handle diversity. We always have been. Look, and that's the real issue here. This isn't about security. It's not about women's rights. It's not about protecting culture. It's about one politician's discomfort with people who look different, dressed up as concern for the nation. So, anyway, what do you think? Should Pauline keep the veil on?
I think the more clothing that Pauline wears, the better. Pauline, it's your choice. So we're not going to make that for you, you know, even though we're Muslim men, we'll give you the choice to, you know, wear the clothes that you deem are appropriate. But I think we all prefer you kept a little bit more on than off.
Okay, look, I know, I hope, just respectfully, this is a joke. This is all in good nature. Just like Pauline can pull stunts, she should have a thick skin, you know. She shouldn't be so thin-skinned. Neither should her fans be thin-skinned that they can't accept a bit of Aussie humour. Yeah, that's it.
This might offend people. I'm sick and tired of worrying about whether people are offended or not. That's your problem, being offended. What about the rest of us? You're shutting down my opinion. Where do people like I go, who just are common sense, normal people who want to have a laugh, want to have it, you know, put out our opinions?
Yeah, the Aussie banter.
Yeah. Fully keep your clothes on, and until next time, we'll see you again for another episode. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support independent media. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.